Hey y'all, it's your legal bestie attorney Symone, and without further ado, in this video, we're going to talk about the real reason Tasha K started a GoFundMe. Hit that like and hit that subscribe. Apologies for my delay. I am in Asia, and so I wanted to make sure I give you this with no buffering, etc. This is a pre-record. However, at the end, it's going to automatically link you into a live. We're going to go live, and we're going to talk about this and other legal hot topics. Hit that subscribe, and always remember, you can always schedule a consultation with me, attorney Symone Redwine, your legal bestie, by simply going to my website, SymoneRedwine.com. There you can get a copy of my book for just $19.99. It's an ebook, Background Checks 101, Beginner's Guide to Discovering Who You're Really Dealing With. But you can also click Book Attorney Symone. Here we go. And when you do that, a consultation with me, if it is an injury matter anywhere in the United States, my specialty and focus is personal injury. You can book with me by just simply calling. You can go to the website here, or you can call 855-4-SYMONE. That's Symone with a Y. If it's a non-injury matter, those consultations costs start at $199 for 30 minutes. Background checks, same thing. They start at $199 for 30 minutes. Again, if it's an injury matter, tell them it's an injury matter. There is no consultation fee. And I am happy to help anywhere in the nation. I create legal teams to support you and get you the best top verdict anywhere in the nation. That's also how come I'm able to work from anywhere, because I have a legal team that handles the depositions and the litigation in those different aspects. And I handle the legal strategy and other aspects that can be handled, internationally. So now it's been all over the media that Miss Tasha K has started a GoFundMe. With this GoFundMe, it is her goal to pay off the bankruptcy debt that she owes to Cardi B, which is $3.5 million is approximately what is left, or correction, that is the portion outside of the portion that's going to come from either Tasha K or Tasha K's husband's company, which is called Yellen Entertainment. And she talks about that as well. She talks about, when she talks about asking for these donations, she says she's still making her contribution, which she stated is at this time is approximately $20,000 a month. I will confirm that. I have the records. So this isn't just going to be gossip here. We're going to put the records on the screen. You're going to get the receipts. If you are a content creator, I am happy for you to share this. I just ask that you tag me below. My Instagram is attorney Symone Redwine, Symone with a Y, and my YouTube channel is Girl Is That Legal, which is at Girl Is That Legal on YouTube. All right. So first off, I wanted to share a clip from you. Arman Wiggins, who is a he was previously mentored by Tasha K. He went live and really gave his thoughts on this. So I want to start with a clip from Arman talking about this GoFundMe. Here we go to Arman. Oh, hold on, let me reshare that. Here we are. Oh, Arman.
Tasha K. Stand with Tasha K to move forward. The GoFundMe is $3.5 million. She's got 132 donations. She's raised $3,695. Better call the DO Whisper. Winos. For years, many of you have asked me to start a fundraiser to help me pay off the judgment against me. No, they didn't. I always refused because I believed it was my responsibility to handle it on my own. That's a lie. But after many conversations with you all, I don't never remember a conversation. I'm finally listening. This fundraiser is being created for one purpose only, to pay down the judgment debt so I can close this chapter and move forward without constant legal distractions. I am currently making my court order payments of $20,000 per month. From
Specifically, the exact amount is, in fact, 18,000 right here. It's like 18,800 and some dollars and some change. I'll be sharing those and putting it on the screen later.
My own income, and I will continue to make those payments regardless of what is raised here from my own income, meaning I will personally contribute my own funds to pay this down faster. Every dollar raised through this GoFundMe will strictly go towards reducing the judgment balance. Many people don't see what is happening behind the scenes. Even while making my payments, creditors can still bring me back to court for examinations and filings. Each appearance costs time, energy, and legal fees. It keeps me tied up in the system that never seems to end. I don't have $3.5 million sitting in cash, but with the help of my community, we can accelerate paying this off so I can finally move forward and focus on creating, reporting, and entertaining without constant interruption. For those asking about merch incentives, that Kickstarter campaign will go live on my birthday this Tuesday, where supporters will be able to receive exclusive items and thank you gifts tied to their support. This fundraiser is simply a way for those who have supported me for years to help me finally put this chapter behind me. This is honestly the only birthday gift I'm asking for this year. Oh yeah, me too. I would love to ask for $4 million on my birthday.
Now, first and foremost, let's start with this. As of the recording of this video, that GoFundMe is now at $9,131 of the $3.4 million that she is seeking to raise. Okay. Hold on one second. Okay, now, if you remember last year around this time, around February of 2025, Tasha K was taking a victory lap. She was celebrating her bankruptcy attorney and basically implying to the world that she had settled her bankruptcy and settled it for only $1.2 million instead of the $4 million that she owed to Cardi B. Now, let's remember, the sole reason that Tasha K even owed this money is as a result of losing a defamation lawsuit. Tasha K, for years, for approximately 7 years, continued to post and release videos claiming that Cardi B had an STD, that she used illegal substances, etc., even after it was proven that those things were untrue. As a result, the jury found and awarded punitive damages because they found that Tasha K intentionally defamed Cardi B. This wasn't an accident of some sort. She did it intentionally and maliciously. Well, under the law, you cannot have a debt dismissed in bankruptcy where it was found that you did the underlying action intentionally or fraudulently. So here, Arman talks about further in his video, and Arman had known Tasha K over a number of years. He talked about how the fact, and this substantiated, I've said this for years. I said for Tasha K, this underlying lawsuit was a marketing plan. She went from 200,000 followers up to 1 million. Many had not even heard of Tasha K until Cardi B sued her. And so in her mind, this was a good investment in free publicity and PR because her numbers just kept increasing. However, she did not realize that under the law, she could not simply file bankruptcy to make it go away. The whole time she was in that lawsuit and then losing that lawsuit, and mind you, she acknowledges she hired lawyers right out of law school who really didn't know what they were doing. The reason she likely hired those is not being broke or anything like that. But what happens generally is Tasha K likely got consultations from other lawyers who told her, Tasha, just take the video down. Or Tasha, yeah, this is defamation. You can't do that. But what happens is when you have certain kinds of clients, they want to hear what they want to hear. So they will lawyer shop until they hear what they want to hear. I don't have proof of that, but it is my educated hypothesis after, 15 plus years practicing law, that more than likely That is how she ended up with the terrible lawyers that she had in her defamation case. And then went on to create the marketing strategy of go through with the whole lawsuit. Don't remove the videos, which is what Cardi B said. If you just remove the videos, we'll drop the suit. But you have to both remove them and agree not to speak on me. Fast forward, that didn't happen. And fast forward today, those two things happened, and they've happened $4 million later. Why? Because what ended up happening that ultimately caused Tasha K to file bankruptcy, it was not this lawsuit itself. The lawsuit in and of itself is not what caused Tasha K to file bankruptcy. She filed for bankruptcy because of the fact that Cardi B seized her YouTube money. Specifically, let's see here. This is the bankruptcy plan. Here we go. Let me see. Let me get you to the exact page where Cardi B confirms, in the bankruptcy plan, it confirms, here we go, page 26, that all the way to 26, it says here we go, I'm gonna make it larger. I'm doing this from my hotel. Okay, therefore it's hard. We got it. So this is a copy of the bankruptcy plan, and it actually confirms, it says events leading to the corporate chapter 11 filing. It says Cardi B, Miss Almanzar, I'm going to just use her name, Cardi B, and wherever it says debtor, I'm going to use Tasha K. It's easier. It says Cardi B removed the judgment to the state court of Gwinnett County and garnished Tasha K's employer, air quote, Google LLC, and Tasha K's Chase account. The Google account had approximately $9,304.81, which was garnished from that Google account. Oh, baby. And Cardi B's debt to Tasha K is pretty much the only debt. It's 98% of the debts listed in Tasha K's bankruptcy. In other words, if it wasn't for Tasha K's lawsuit with Cardi B, she wouldn't be here. Stay with me. This is important. Well, when Cardi B was able to seize the Google money, that's when Tasha K began taking this seriously. Remember, prior to that, she was posting pictures of her in Africa, allegedly hiding money and opening accounts. But that Google money is what made Tasha K say, oh, goodness, I got to take this seriously. Specifically, this is Tasha K's affidavit that she filed with the court on the payment plan that's currently at issue. Here in this, she acknowledges, she says, quote, under feasibility, approximately 75% of my gross income is generated from YouTube. She also acknowledges that she says a review of her financials from May of 2023 through December of 2024, she earned a total of $879,000. But says she spent $874. So for those of you thinking about donating to the GoFundMe, I want you to think about the fact you're helping someone who's earned $879,000 in about a year and a half, right? So from May to December of the next year, $879,000, almost $1 million, but spent that much. These are business expenses and things like that. Tasha K then goes on a rant. I'm going to play a clip from that rant so that we can I want you to clearly understand how Tasha K has explained this and then what's really going on. Here we go.
She's in now. This right here.
This is Tasha.
You need to learn how to be quiet, ma'am.
So I said, you know what? Since people want to be petty and keep dragging me into court, claiming they're going to take my house, my kids ain't going to go to school, none of this shit. Like, I have never, in the time that I have been in court, I have never uttered those words about anybody. Your kids ain't gonna go to college. I'm gonna take your house. I'm gonna take your nigga. I'm gonna take your husband. I have never heard that type of because it's not in me. Yeah.
Well, hold on. Well, first of all, you had not uttered these things because you simply couldn't do it. You couldn't take anybody's man. You couldn't take their husband. You couldn't do any of those. The context here, and this is from the channel Lakeisha Keisha. Love her channel. I'm going to cite her below as well. She has great videos on this. And on that channel, basically, this is a clip from Tasha K just she was irate. She was upset the other day, and she went on X Spaces where you can do the audio and say your thoughts. Well, Tasha K is taking zero accountability here. What Tasha K is saying is what she's fed up with is having to go back and forth. Cardi B forcing her to go back and forth, and that Cardi B has announced that Cardi B was going to bankrupt her, going to bankrupt and take money from her kids, et cetera, et cetera. But the context is that Tasha K would continue to talk about Cardi B throughout this. This lawsuit spanned from 2018 or 2017 all the way until now. Okay, the verdict came in 2024. That's how long. Cardi B was pregnant during this time. None of that was a reason that Tasha K let up on her. Tasha K has not stopped talking about Cardi B in a negative way until the non-disparagement agreement, which was the bankruptcy plan, forced it. In order to get Cardi B to agree to the terms of the bankruptcy payment plan, that provision had to be added because Cardi said from the beginning she wasn't agreeing to anything that didn't include something that said, Tasha, keep my name out your mouth. So no, that non-disparagement where you're not allowed to talk about Cardi B negatively, that's still in play. As you listen to this rant, she never says Cardi's name, but I want you to tell me if you think this is violation. Disparagement is anything negative about the other person. And I'm going to put a clip on the screen of that. Listen.
They tell your business, but I don't wish nobody bad against nobody. I don't wish to see nobody kids without. I don't wish to see nobody homeless. I don't wish that. That's not the type of person I am.
That's not what Cardi wished. Cardi wished that she gets every single dime. Cardi says, I'm going to get every dime that you owe me if it requires your kids to, be homeless or go bankrupt or whatever. However, keep listening.
And that doesn't make me a better person or make me feel good that my neighbor is going through that. But this is what's been wished upon me. This is what has been told they're going to intentionally do to me. And I said, you won't. And that's why I took my money down to the bankruptcy court to let them crackers protect me, my black, loud, aggressive ass. And they did. We are happily making payments. No problem. Everybody getting paid. We ain't have to lay off our workforce, even though everybody is laying off. Tasha K is not laying off. We are expanding. And with that expansion comes more money. With more money comes bigger payments, and the judgment is paid off. But that's not enough. It's never enough. So I did some praying all week with my grandmother, my mother-in-law, the two women. These women, they pray for me every day. They say, Tasha, we gonna pray, you go work. We got it here. All of this is confusion. The devil lives in confusion. Whenever people are trying to confuse you and keep you in a circle, keep you running back to old shit, that is the devil. That is the demon. You keep your eyes on the prize. You got all of us down here depending on you. You stay focused. Let us pray. That's what they told me. And that's what the did. And that's why we out here winning. And we're going to continue to win. But since everybody want to play and keep me confused with all these documents, paperwork, going back to court, all of this shit, I pulled my card. And I'm giving myself one year. Popcorn, wristbands, people that want to pure donate. We got the mother Cash App up now. We got the Venmo up now. These motherfuckers want to keep me tied up in the court. Guess what? I'm going to pull the one card that my viewers asked me to do just so I can focus and make content for them. Because you're too busy. Focus the on me. Everybody blocked everywhere. You mad. So yeah, I put up the GoFundMe and will. Every single thing is going to my DIP account, debtor in possession account that is held with the court, and everything will be transferred over so this chain will be broken. Then when the NDA is up, then what? I'm still not going to talk about you. Even when that
that's a lie. That's a lie. I want to know in the chat, who thinks when the NDA is up? So the NDA will be up when she's done with her bankruptcy payments, because when she cannot get out of bankruptcy until the payments have all been made. Who thinks she's not going to talk about Cardi after the end date? I think she's going to be even more angry that she had to pay this woman the $4 million. She's going to talk about her every day that she can to get her marketing's money's worth. Remember, I talked about that in the beginning. So you get the gist. So basically, she's upset because Cardi B recently filed a document in the courts, basically saying that Cardi B wants certain financial documents from Tasha K. What Tasha K has not talked about in her rant is that Tasha K agreed to this. She agreed to every single bit of this. So when she says, I don't want to be dragged back and forth to court. So why did you agree to it last year in your bankruptcy plan? See, remember, this debt is not dischargeable in bankruptcy, meaning it doesn't go away. All they did here was come to a payment plan agreement as far as how it's going to be paid. So remember that victory lap that we talked about at the beginning where she was like, oh, 1.2 million, 1.2 million. No. It didn't diminish the debt to 1.2. What it did was it created a payment plan where it created basically a base payment that she's going to make every year for 5 years. Plus, she has to pay a percentage of her income, which incentivizes her to increase her income. So every year that she makes more, she has to pay Cardi B more. This is not a surprise to her. Actually, this is the affidavit that, let's see, which one is this? This is an affidavit that Tasha K drafted and signed. Hold on. This is her signature, so I can show it to you. Tasha K drafted and signed it. We're here. She is admitting. She says, attached as Exhibit B to the third plan, that's the bankruptcy plan, are my projections for income and expenses over the next 5 years. The projections are determined by using my projected net income, supplemented with, as agreed by Cardi B, the Yellen contribution. So that's money that her husband's company is going to contribute to Cardi B, and for providing for increases each year in both income and expenses. In other words, she agreed to a 5-year plan. Each year, the plan is going to renew and increase based on her increase in earnings. Oh, and if her earnings were to go down, it doesn't matter. She still has to stick with the plan, and the plan is going to determine how much to be paid. What are those numbers? Well, I'm about to show you those numbers. Let's see those numbers. This is all what she agreed to. So I need you to keep in mind the fact that she's now claiming that Cardi B has wronged her and is doing these things that are unfair and unjust after it was just fine last year when she was taking a victory rap, calling it a success. Here we go. This is the bankruptcy plan. The bankruptcy plan that Tasha K just referenced and agreed to. So this plan, okay, it projected based on documents Tasha K gave that her revenue in a given year would be $400,000. The next year it would go up about 5% to these different numbers. And then based on that would be her payment plan. Her payment plan for the last year was $14,000 per month or $15,000. Hold on. So y'all, here is the payment plan she agreed to. So this is year one. I'm just go to the prior page so you can see, okay, monthly number of payments. Let's see, I'll pull this banner down just so that you can see more easily. All right, so it's each year. Year one, here we are. And those are her debts. Number of payments to Cardi B. Monthly, 14,000 and some change, just about 15,000 in year one, which is going to total 176,000. Year two is going to be 18,500 approximately. So that's that amount. Okay. Now we can't forget, guys, this is the agreement she agreed to. And it says, quote, the payment scheme for this has been modified for the original, but that these payments increase each year. This is just the minimum Cardi B is to receive. She's going to get at least this amount on a quarterly basis and has been. She has been receiving that from Cardi B. Now, you might remember this clip. Let's Go ahead and play. Y'all remember this clip that she just posted talking about how well she's doing?
So that 20 doesn't affect you at all?
No, it does not.
This is her
Does it affect
talking
me?
about paying. Let's start from the beginning. $20K a month to Cardi B, which based on the numbers I just gave you is correct.
As much as we can. I know you can't do much
I
talking
can't.
about
I'm on
it.
an India. I'm trying to keep my payments low, bro. Like,
so how
20K a month.
I was
bro.
gonna say, how do those payments look?
20K a month. That's just what it is.
So you're basically working.
No, I'm not
double.
basically working double. Nothing.
Nothing. You're just doing regular stuff.
That's bottom line. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So I'm not working to pay this, baby. Do I look like I'm struggling? I got a whole team of entourage that roll with me.
Does she look like
So that 20 doesn't affect you at all?
No, it does not. He's partly my CFO. Does it affect me?
You ain't had to fix your chair when he said no, man.
Because you know there was a lot of reports that came out that tried to say you had like $1,000 in your bank account.
It was true. I had $1,000 in that account.
Yeah.
Remember, we just talked about that at the beginning, that what prompted her to go bankruptcy was her Chase account had 1,000. Cardi got that. And then Cardi seized her Google YouTube money, which for that particular month was only 9,000, which makes me think she knew it was coming. You had to know it was coming because there were documents that Cardi filed in the courts to be able to seize it. Her attorney knew it. So she probably knew for that month to redirect her YouTube money or tell YouTube, hold it. 9,000 was a low amount for her. Remember, at this time, she was also launching Tasha K Live, where it was redirecting people that way because those monies couldn't be so easily garnished.
In that account, they tried to hit. It was only $1,000 in there, but they didn't get it because they asked for the $4 million, and Chase wasn't finna let $4 million negative go. So they let me keep my 1,000, and I took the 1,000 out of the account and gave it away. I said, hey guys, tell me what your business plans are. I'm going to first fruit this money of $1,000 to somebody that needs it. And I did.
Now she might have done that, but the court documents actually say that 1,000 from Chase and the 9,000 from Google were obtained by Cardi B's lawyers and held in the lawyer's trust account. Hold on. If she's talking about she took it out, we're going to put this document right back on the stage. She's talking about she took it out and here we go. And that she gave it away to people. No. This says events leading to the corporate chapter 11. It says, this is a bankruptcy. Google LLC and debtor's account at Chase approximately had the $9,300 and garnished from Google, and $1,083 was garnished from Chase and is held in the trust account of Cardi B's lawyer, Daniel T. Silos. So her saying she took the money out of the account and gave it away. No, she might have given people other money as a publicity stunt, but that is not accurate. That is not accurate. Let me let her go ahead and finish with this. Wonderful. But maybe you shouldn't be giving away money until you're on your feet yet. Because she was saying she was able to help others by giving that money away. Maybe that's not what you should do. Because here's what really is happening. So here we are. This is all to say that what we're seeing now is that the real reason Tasha K launched a GoFundMe is because her payment plan is now set to increase. It's set to increase April 1st because she entered into this bankruptcy plan and agreed every year it would increase. And it's going to be a big increase. Here's why. This is the part that Tasha don't like. Here we are. Hold on. Here's why. We're adding it to the screen here. It's pulling up now. This is the problem. So remember, Tasha K forecasted she was only going to have revenue of about $410,000. So this is not revenue minus expenses. They based her payment plan off documents that she provided to Cardi B showing her anticipated revenue. No one else's but hers. Well, here we go. So this is the projected revenue for the first year would be $410,000, right? We're just talking revenue because this is the basis that they're making the calculation on. Well, then these are the actual numbers. Here we are. The actual numbers show that at the end of this year, she actually made $581,797.46 versus 410. So that's 42% more. She made 42% more money than she projected. That makes me think the projections were bull. The projections were just projections she created to get into a payment plan. with the understanding each year it would be increasing. But what happened is because what happened is every single quarter, Tasha K's lawyer, per their agreement, has to provide to Cardi B a copy of her bank statements from her bank accounts, as well as a summary financial statement. That's where I clipped these documents. So the issue is that the math ain't mathing. They're trying to figure out how is it that you made $581,000, but your expenses are this crazy amount where you don't have anything to show for it, basically. So what happened is Cardi B filed documents. She filed something that's called, it's like a subpoena. Basically, she's subpoenaing, asking for a subpoena for records from Tasha K, not a deposition. So when Tasha K said in her rant, I'm tired of going back and forth. I'm tired of going. They're not asking Tasha K to come to court. They're asking Tasha K's lawyers to provide these documents that are going to explain how it is that she made 42% more money, although she was only paying $15,000 a month, and has nothing to show for it. In addition, they need this information to calculate what the increase will be for next year. Remember, the payment plan, the 1.2 million over 5 years, that's just the minimum. Think of it as like a commission, a base plus commission. That's the base. So the truth is that what Cardi B is trying to do is figure out where did all this money go and why aren't the financial records that she has submitted quarterly, each and every quarter, to Cardi B's lawyers, why ain't the math mathing? This isn't a witch hunt. You agreed every year to submit your finances, not every year, but quarterly, to give Cardi B your finances. Why the hell would you do that? You knew you hate that lady. When I read this, I thought this was crazy. So this is what was submitted. It's a request for an examination ducis tecum, which is like, it's the words for a definition. But specifically, what it is saying is pursuant to the rules. So it's this day and this time. She wants it for March the 16th. But specifically, it is saying you don't have to show up if you just give us the damn documents. Give us the darn documents that help us see how you came to your calculations so we can then use it to fairly calculate what your increase should be for this year, because you didn't agree to all of the increases in your documents. So the kinds of documents that they simply want, it's normal stuff. It's bank statements. It's documents you're submitting to the IRS. It's statements from other entities she has control of. So for example, she created a new entity called Stash Media Works, and it looks like she is moving money between Stash and Yellen. So they are trying to make sure she is not unlawfully moving money and doing stuff with her funds. So overall, specifically, after reviewing the financials that Cardi B's team has received over the year, Cardi B's team has now filed documents that have alleged that Tasha K has been concealing funds. Specifically, Cardi B's lawyers have subpoenaed her new company, Stash Media Works, and Yellen Entertainment, that's her husband's company, to uncover financial records. What kind of records? They want records like contracts, tax returns, bank statements, and revenue from her platforms such as Unwind with Tasha K. And the investigation into Stash that was recently created, it's designed to track where income is being directed. It's part of an effort to ensure simply Tasha K is complying with the agreement she signed last year, where she agreed to a payment plan that would increase each year. This is not Cardi B harassing her. This is Cardi B saying, hey, just give me these documents so we can calculate what the payments should be to make sure it's consistent, that your payments are being consistent with what we agreed to last year. You cannot agree to an annual renewal term, and when the renewal comes up, you're like, this is unfair. She wants to examine my books. You think so? Do you think so? Also, let's not forget this important doozy here in the bankruptcy plan. Hold on. I'm going to add it back up. This is critical. This is critical to the bankruptcy plan. You see here, under this, debtors, domestic and offshore trusts and business entities. I'm quoting. It says, debtor contends that the impending entry of the defamation judgment against the debtor. So what this is, this section I'm about to read to you is Tasha K admitting she was committing bankruptcy fraud. This is Tasha K admitting that against the judge's rules, that she not move no money. Oh, girl, move money. Oh, girl, open accounts. Y'all remember when she was posting them pictures from Africa, taunting Cardi B? Well, Cardi B's lawyers were genius. This is the bankruptcy plan. Here's what it says. It says, Tasha K contends that the impending entry of the defamation judgment against her and Kebby Studios caused her to panic and make hasty decisions that she felt were necessary to protect her family and her children, but that Cardi B contends was in violation of the judge's order and admonition to Tasha K in January of 2021 that she not move, sell, or otherwise uncover any of her or Kebby Studios' assets. In March of 21, Tasha K retained a Georgia lawyer for an estate planning package for her and her husband. This package included the creation of the following entities and domestic trusts. She made the Bomco Trust, which is an irrevocable living trust for her kids, the Transrena Management Trust, a Florida Joint Revocable Trust, and a Tantanu Family Limited Partnership. Okay. Now it says, because the litigation with Cardi B was still outgoing, each trust was funded with only $10 cash on hand. No bank account was ever created for any of the domestic trusts, domestic, not including international, and nothing has been transferred into or out of any of the trusts to date. It says the limited partnership was likewise created but valued at zero and never used by the debtor or her husband and their family or other entities. The domestic trust, it says, in the limited partnership, they remain active today, but have no value. The debtor intends to dissolve, Tasha K intends to dissolve the Tantu Family Limited Partnership to avoid the unnecessary cost of taxes and annual fees. Listen, this means there was no point of opening a trust you're not funding. She was going to use these to put money in to hide it from Cardi B, and this is an admission in the bankruptcy statement documents. So, and then hold on, there's one more paragraph, because this is why Cardi B has now filed the documents for substantiation of her finances, because it ain't like there ain't been a history of this acknowledged in these own bankruptcy plan itself. It says as well, quote, after the amended defamation judgment was entered, so before is what she did prior to the judgment being entered. Here it says, after the judgment was entered against Tasha K and Kebby Studios, Tasha tried protecting her family assets and business assets, and in March of 2022, found a random company online. That is what it says, quote, a random company online that advertised it specialized in asset protection through offshore trusts and business entities. The company convinced the debtor, Tasha K, that it could protect her assets in ways that the domestic trust that she and her husband made could not. Tasha K, however misguided, it says, hired this company to create an offshore trust, plural, and limited liability company. She used $25,000 from her husband's company, Carolyn Homes LLC, to fund the purchase and creation of the following, quote, the Sambaski Investment Trust in the Cook Islands and the Sinokis LLC in the island of Nevis. I got a homeboy who's a lawyer over there. He makes these trusts for people. The trusts that are created in Nevis are solely to hide assets. That is it. That is all. I can't say it about Cook Islands, but it sounds about right. She ain't got no business over at Cook Islands. Ain't nobody over on Cook Islands except from indigenous people and survivor contestants, okay? She ain't never been over there to the Cook Islands. This was to hide money. It says neither of the trusts have ever been nor ever will be utilized by the debtor. This is just putting it in the documents. The point here is her now saying, Cardi B is dragging me to court, so I need to GoFundMe so I don't have to keep going back and forth to court. Nah. Cardi B is taking you to court because the math ain't mathing, and you have a history of hiding assets, making trust accounts, moving money, and her legal team is simply doing what you agreed that they could do according to the agreement you signed last year. So now let's talk about what happens if in fact she raises the money from the GoFundMe. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm not telling anybody not to support. If you want to support, go for it. But what will happen is, number one, this GoFundMe is subject to income taxes. So if she gets the full 3.5 million, that would put her at the 37% tax bracket, not to include the other income that she's already had. That would all be added together by the IRS. So for the 3.5 million alone that she's seeking to earn, 1.2 million of that is taxes. It has to be paid to taxes. GoFundMe does not let you escape taxes. All of that is ripe, and she's going to have to pay that. In addition, if you're going to support the GoFundMe, know that the goal of this, right, which is for her to get back her freedom of speech and to be able to talk and say what she wants, the goal of that was something that could have been accomplished prior to by just taking down the videos. In other words, Tasha K has launched a GoFundMe. Here, what we have seen is, based on all of this, Tasha cannot get out of the bankruptcy until she has made all the payments. Here's what's also important. What this means is, if you've ever been in bankruptcy or know someone who has, I'm not saying she wants to buy a house or anything like that. It's my understanding her home in Georgia is actually up for sale, but she cannot buy a new home, as an example, while currently in bankruptcy. You can't take out any new credit. You can't even get a new credit card while in bankruptcy. So if there's certain investments that she would like to make into her business, this will prevent it until she gets out of bankruptcy. Also, if someone wants to invest in her business, let's say they want to give her a cash infusion to build a studio, the bankruptcy trustee has to approve it and has to decide that money, that investment would not be better spent handing it over to Cardi B. So that is how come she also wants to be able to control, right? Have more control over her finances, what happens with her money, as well as, if she wants to get her kids another house, etc. She'll be able to do that. She will no longer be under those control. Tasha K, though, she cannot get out of bankruptcy until all of this is paid off. In other words, here, the issue is that Tasha K made too much money. Tasha K wants the GoFundMe because she has now made so much money. She made 42% more money than she projected to Cardi B that she would earn in that 1 year alone. As a result of that, she's dramatically going to have to increase her payment plan. So next year, it was slated to only be approximately, as in this year currently. So this is year 2, currently approximately $20,000. She's now made 42% more, which is almost half. She's made 50% more money than she was making before. So instead of 20, maybe Cardi B's team's like, no, based on our calculations, you should be paying us 30, 35, 40 a month. They're entitled to do that under the plan. And it is solely between Cardi B, Tasha K, and the bankruptcy trustee. The bankruptcy trustee even has the ability to look over the financials and say, once Cardi B's team, if they get the documents they're asking for, and say, oh yeah, Tasha K's, she's got it. She can up these payments to Cardi B to double that or what have you. So that's why Tasha K wants to get out of this GoFundMe. Get out of this bankruptcy, is because she wants this GoFundMe to pay her bills because she's making too much money. She doing too good. And how good is Tasha K doing? Tasha K is doing so good that her own documents provided by her lawyer to Cardi B's legal team quarterly show that she earned just Tasha K. This does not include what her husband, what his company, what the new company stashes earned. The Tasha K earned $581,797.46 in revenue. So what do you think? Are you going to support the GoFundMe? And obviously she's going to have to pay her taxes and do what have you. But in the end, what we do know is Tasha K was right. She is accurate when she says that she is sick of having to go back and forth to court with Cardi B. But context matters. And the truth of the context is that Tasha K agreed that her debt was not dischargeable, that she would make these payments, and that the payments would be able to be increased annually. And we are now at that annual term. And at that annual term, and it says here, there we go. Upon the effective date at that annual term, these amounts would require quarterly reporting. So her saying she's sick of giving Cardi B this, sick of giving Cardi B that, she's been doing it all year. They're financial documents. And as long as those financial documents are fair and they're accurate and they're showing everything that needs to be shown, you're not hiding anything in the Cook Islands, you haven't created any offshore accounts, then what's the problem? Why don't you want to provide the documents? That's what bankruptcy is for. You knew in this bankruptcy you would not be able to get rid of the debt, but you continue to pursue the bankruptcy because you wanted a payment plan. Now you have your payment plan. So the question is, what is it in her financials that Cardi B's asking for that she doesn't want to show? What is it that makes her say, I would rather set up this GoFundMe and get this money and pay her off instead of 5 years, pay her in one? It's not just that whole freedom of speech. I think there's something in these financial documents that she doesn't want Cardi to see, or perhaps she may not want the IRS to see. I don't know, but it's going to be seen because now in the bankruptcy, these are the terms, and you've already agreed. You've been in the bankruptcy for a year. The only way to get out is this GoFundMe. But I also want to be clear. Her lawyer each quarter was providing financial documents. I'm not going to put them on the screen, but like I said, it was a bank statement only for her corporate. It was for her Chase. It was for a Bank of America account as well for Slate. And then it was for the summary reporting for the numbers that I put on the screen just before. That's it. So now Cardi B's team wants to see tax returns. Listen, you can't lie to the IRS you can't lie to Cardi without lying to the IRS, right? If you simply show her your tax returns and what you're filing and it substantiates, you're fine. Do you guys think that maybe there's something in those financial documents that Tasha K says, you know what? Let's get the hell out of this bankruptcy because I don't want to have to show her another entire year of my numbers. You've already done 1 year. I don't want to go through this for 5 years. And to be honest, I don't blame you. Your arch nemesis, I don't want to give her my financial numbers either. But it's what you agreed to. So in this case, she's not a victim. Y'all let me know your thoughts below. Let me know your questions. She will have to pay taxes on all of this money. Oh, and very importantly, anything she gets from GoFundMe, Cardi B is able to use to up her minimum payments anyways. They're not going to reduce her payments. She still has the minimum contribution that she has to give through Yellen, which is her husband's company. They've got those numbers. We put those up on the screen before, but she's still going to have to take all the money that you donate. So you don't have to worry that if you're donating to the GoFundMe, that it's going to then, go for her to get her hair done. No, Cardi and her legal team will be using all those calculations to determine what her new payment plan should be each and every year, and they're going to seize it all. She don't get to keep none of it for her attorney, for this and that, all of that money. Because when you fundraise and say, I am using GoFundMe for this purpose, under the law, it's considered fraud to use it for any other reason, to substantially use it for any other reason. I'm your legal bestie, attorney Symone. Make sure you go to SymoneRedwine.com if you want to book a consultation with me. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thanks for joining.
Is that legal? Is that legal?